Good morning and namaste everyone. Welcome to Coca-Cola Presents Youth Dialogue by Global Private Limited. I am Baghbazar, the moderator of today's panel discussion. And today I am here at the premises of Kathmandu Model College, Baghbazar, and hosting this interesting and the last episode of Youth Dialogue 2.0 here. Youth Dialogue is a youth discussion series where we invite speakers to talk about different topics to share about their initiation, creativity, challenges, and motivation. So, for today's episode, the topic of our discussion is building a sustainable future, crafting an enabling environment to catalyze sustainability. So before we begin our panel discussion, let me take my honor to introduce our panelists with you all. We have, firstly, Mr. Lakshan Madurasinghe, who is the Regional Lead Public Affairs, Communication and Sustainability for the Coca-Cola Company. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause. Likewise, we have Mr. Amun Thapa, who is the founder of Sasto and co-founder at Khalisisi here with us. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause. Likewise, we have our other panelist, Mr. Raghavendra Mahto, who is the co-founder at Doko Recycles. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause. So let's begin today's panel discussion. So we are talking about building a sustainable future. So when we hear sustainability, when we hear about sustainable future, what comes in your mind? How should a sustainable future be?
Namaste. Good morning, everyone. First of all, it's an honor and privilege to be here at Kathmandu Model College, KMC. So thank you. I would like to start with addressing that question. Again, I think the audience mentioned that earlier. It's about how we utilize our resources in today's day and age, in today's world, when we know a lot of our raw material resources are limited in nature, and how we can better put them into use so that it is used as many times as possible for future generations, so there's less waste, and we move from what we have traditionally done in the world, which is a linear economy, to a circular economy. I think the main crux is moving to a circular economy, where we look at reducing waste and putting raw materials back into use over and over again. And one example, if I just mention, is if you take even the usage of plastics, which is a much discussed topic. Most often, when you produce something, you use what is known as virgin material. So oil, petroleum becomes plastic. But how, it's not just about producing, using, and disposing. That's linear. How you go into circularity? How do you use that product and enhance its life cycle and put it back into better use and over again? So one example is even these pair of shoes. It's made from plastics and ocean plastic. So you don't dispose of something, you put it back into circularity so that future generations can make use of it and we don't waste and reduce waste. So I think one of the main things when I look at sustainability is how do we look at circular, how do you reduce waste and put it back into more efficient use?
Yeah, any points from you, Amun, sir?
I think perfectly summed up. Sustainability for me is being responsible. That's what Lakshan is saying. I think as human beings, we should be responsible not just towards our family, our wife, our girlfriends and boyfriends, but we should be responsible towards planet Earth. I think yesterday I was watching this Nepali comment ko video on Bagmati River, such a sad state, and it's nothing but us. We cannot blame the government, we cannot blame anyone. We've been polluting Bagmati for the last 30 years and the headline was Bagmati is dead. So I think it's time that we realize we become a responsible citizen, and once that happens, then we're going to have a sustainable environment and sustainable world, I think.
So for Raghavendra sir, what's your definition of sustainability?
I think more or less Lakshan and Amun has covered most of it. I would just like to add that sustainability, it's a very broad concept, and as an audience, like We have to see that how people as an individual can contribute to sustainability, not like, organizations are doing their work, but as an individual, let's say someone goes to a picnic and, and you take a bunch of things and suddenly you remember that we have to clean up after that, or I have to be responsible for my actions, then that is the initiative that we are looking from all of us. Beside we working with partners like Coke, who are producers of something, and we are recyclers. So already the ecosystem is building up for companies to work together. But at the end of the day, we want to focus more on individual actions, citizen actions, and that is youth, basically all of us. So it really depends on people how we evolve to kind of create a sustainable environment around us.
Yeah, perfect. So it depends on us how to create a sustainable future. That defines how we can enable that sort of sound environment. So my question to Lakshan sir. So you have been with Coca-Cola for over a decade now, and so I would like to know from you about those insight into how Coca-Cola has integrated sustainability into its core strategies and what excites and drives you most about working for the Coca-Cola company.
Yeah, so I'll just take a step back and maybe for everyone here, if you look at the Coca-Cola company, we are in over 200 countries. There are only 3 countries where we don't directly operate in the world, so we have a very global presence. And we are the world's largest beverage company. So we are a total beverage company where we produce not just Coca-Cola, Sprite, Fanta, but variety of products for different times, different needs, tastes, preferences of the of people around the world. So when you are that larger company, of course, sustainability is key. It's vital. So one of the reasons, and you mentioned why I love working for the company is, so it's ingrained in our corporate vision, in our philosophy. It's ingrained in the DNA. So the purpose of Coca-Cola, and you can look it up, is to refresh the world and make a difference. So my colleagues and I, when we work for the company, I think that is, at least in our function, more predominant, but it's across the board, where we strive to make a difference in whatever we do, in whatever actions we take. And I'll just share maybe 2-3 quick highlights on how we do that. Water is a key ingredient, as we all know, in our communities on Earth. And it is our main ingredient in Coca-Cola. 90% approximately of a product is water. So we use water. We take water from the earth and ground. And as you can imagine, it's billions of liters of water are extracted. So our responsibility, as was discussed, is to give back water, replenish water. So Coca-Cola has a global mandate, and our goal was by the year 2020 to give back more water than we take to produce our beverages. We reached that goal 5 years ahead of target by 2015. And we're very proud in Nepal that we are also, as a country here, water positive. So we give back more water through a variety of ways: water stewardship projects, in replenishment projects, rainwater harvesting. There's so many ways we go about doing it. So we're water positive. And we give back to communities that need it most. That's important. Where we do the projects are important, in water-stressed locations. So that's one. The second is packaging, which takes a lot of work. So we have a program called World Without Waste, a global agenda with very clear goals. One of the goals is by the year 2030, Coca-Cola has committed to the world, to the governments of the world, that we will recover and collect the equivalent amount of packaging that we sell in the market. So for example, if we make 100 billion bottles, we will collect back 100 billion bottles for recycling by 2030. So we're on that track, and I think Nepal is doing a great job, and my colleague is here, Sneha, and the team, Sneh, have been doing a great job with our partners in moving the needle, and we're currently, even in Nepal, collecting back more than we sell. So it's a very proud moment for us in the company to even be able to state that. And there are various other goals, but I think it comes down to responsibility, it comes down to a vision. And I think Coca-Cola, that's one of the reasons I'm very happy and proud to be working. We have very clear goals on climate, packaging, water. We have clear milestones. We work with partners, and we're trying to play a role, be a part of the solution, and make a difference in the process.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's give a round of applause to Sasto for this wonderful initiative. So, since we're talking about sustainability and we are also talking about how we can give back to the community, so my next question is to Amun sir. So you started the first local e-commerce company in Nepal, and you and your wife Aishi started Khalisisi in 2017. So when waste management industry barely existed, what was your rationale in starting these companies, and how far you reached?
Sure. I'll try to link this to sustainability eventually, but just to answer your question, how we started. So Sasto Deal, I mean, we are technically the first local e-commerce company in Nepal. So 2011, when we started the company, the internet penetration itself was just 9%. So 91% of the Nepal did not even have access to internet. So where I want to go with Sasto Deal's story first is, look, I mean, it's all about building not just a company, but building an ecosystem, building an industry, and building habits and culture. And now that, fast forward 2017, when we started Khalisisi, and credit goes to my wife Aishi, she's the one who's been the visionary leader behind this company. So when she started Khalisisi in 2017, the entire idea was again similar to what I did with Sasto Deal. It was about building an industry. So waste management industry itself barely existed. Even today, it's still in its very nascent stages, right? So again, it was about building culture. If I have to ask, I mean, and just be honest with a raise of hands, कसको घरमा दुईटा बिन छ, एउटा रिसाइक्लिङ गर्न, एउटा फोहोर मैला फाल्न, कसको घरमा छ? Just be very honest. See, so less than 15%, and so 85%, and it goes across the nation. I think 85 to 90% of Nepali households do not recycle. So now where we are starting, and it reminds me kind of nostalgic, when we started e-commerce, I had to knock on everyone's door trying to explain them what internet is, what e-commerce is, how home delivery happens, how to build that map, how to build that infrastructure, how to work with coexisting partners like Worldling and Subisu, how to work with the government in building the policies. So you had to work with a lot of partners. I think today the story again goes back to waste management. When I look at it, look, habitness, there's no culture. So we have to start with building a culture that, as youths, I mean, we're talking about youths here, 85%. If you talk about older generation, I think it's 99% they don't recycle, right? So as youths, it's about time we look at Bagmati every day. We look at, the Mount Everest, the cleanup, the trash that's been sent there. We look around us, what's happening with the environment. Now it's time in the next 30 years, I mean, you guys are in your early 20s, so when you are in your 50s and when you look back the past 30 years, we should feel very, very proud that we maintained a beautiful Nepal and a beautiful planet. And it starts with building the culture. So I don't know if you were asking how the story of Sasto and all that, but I wanted to link it to sustainability somehow.
That's really inspiring. That's really inspiring. So, I also remember Khalisisi, like, I went to explore more about Khalisisi, and I was really impressed because I'm a student of environmental science and I would love to have that initiative. And because charity begins at home, I also started this segregation of waste at my early time. Thank you so much for sharing. So my next question to Raghavendra sir, about Doko Recycles. What approach have you adopted for the recycling procedure, as it requires a basic level of awareness to be segregated? So connecting to the story of Amun sir, how did Doko Recycles initiated and what you have been achieving so far?
Thank you. I think I'll just take a simple example of this college itself, Kathmandu Model College. Let's say there are more than, I think, quite a big college, and there are a lot of students. There are almost 50 students sitting here itself. And we produce waste every day, no matter where you are. You're in a village, you're in a city, you're in a college, you're at your home, you produce waste. You produce paper, plastic, metal, glass, electronics, all kind of waste. And we have to understand that waste are of different nature. Like, for example, right now in this room, if you look around, there are so many gadgets. Like the camera is there, the mic I'm speaking with. Someday the lifespan of this product will also end. And then someone has to take care of this product. What will we do with this product? There's plastic in it, there's metal chip in it. So it's a very complex way of looking at, once we understand waste. But in general, like for individual, like, we have to understand that once we produce waste, then it has to go somewhere. And the best way to use that waste is to recycle, because then we don't have to cut trees to make paper. We don't have to use oil to make, plastic. So it's a very straightforward concept if we think that why we should recycle or, why we should segregate is because there's a direct connection of product being recycled. This mic can be recycled into different products. So that's what Doko initiated. Doko initiated a concept of, let's say, I think we both, Khalisisi and Doko, came in the same year, 2017. It's been 7 years, and basically we realized the problem is not recycling, but environmental awareness. Basically, lack of awareness leads to everything. Lack of awareness leads to health issues. Lack of awareness leads to other things. So similarly, in waste management or sustainability, lack of awareness has led to the pollution that we are talking about, the Bagmati pollution or the mountain pollution. So if people are aware, then it reduces over the time. And countries within South Asia are similar. Like if you look at India, Pakistan or Sri Lanka, we have evolved over the time, but it can be faster than that. It's like we're a bit slow in kind of reaching there. So Doko Recyclers has kind of successfully trained more than almost 25,000 people in Kathmandu Valley itself. And by training, we kind of connect the whole dot. Like suppose tomorrow you segregate, then what do you do with your segregated waste? Kahan lagni to paper, plastic kahan janta? So those kind of solutions, like for example, Khalisisi and Doko are the solution provider. If you segregate your waste, we will collect it. And you have many other options also. There's organic waste, which has to be composted. It's a bit of effort, but once someone starts it, it's a matter of time that it becomes so easy. It's like almost like brushing your teeth every day. So we started like that, and now we have progressed quite far. Now we see that people have kind of ingrained the behavior in them in a lot of places. Yeah. Thank you.
So now next question to Lakshan sir. You manage 4 markets in Southwest Asia. Can you share the examples on how Coca-Cola company implemented to raise awareness and promote sustainable practices among local communities? Not just that, if you could also share us about the collaboration approach with external partners that you have been doing to build sustainable solutions.
Yeah, thank you. So that's an important question, and I'll take the second part first. I think one of the key aspects for any successful campaign to be sustainable itself, we do a lot of projects, but we don't want them to be just a one-off, 1 year, 2 year. It has to be sustainable, it has to grow, it has to develop, enhance. And the key aspect is collaboration. As a company, no matter how big we are as a MNC, we can't do any of this without partnership, without proper collaboration with partners, like Doko, with Khalisisi, and many, many partners. We need partnerships to move the needle, to truly make impact, to make a difference. That's why we partner Global for Youth Dialogue and for anything. So I think partnerships also, look at how you have NGOs, you have development sector partners, INGOs, NGOs in markets. But partners go beyond that. It's your partnership even internally as a company. There has to be awareness that starts and stems from within the company. Your own colleagues, associates, your leadership needs to be aligned about a certain vision. So in Coca-Cola company, when we all meet and discuss, we all know we want to ensure we collect everything that we sell. Period. That is a goal. Water. If we extract water, we want to give back more water. So similarly, we have internal partners. We have to start there. I think everyone in the company, like in your college, there has to be alignment to a certain direction where you want to take your college if you want to see KMC go forward and be, maybe you are, the number 1 college already, but there has to be a clear, synced vision. NGOs are important. The media is important. We work a lot with media to take forward the message. Communication, today's world of digital, There's so much that we need. We work with influencers. We work with media. We work with youth-based organizations a lot. The ideas the youth generate and provide today is immense importance. So we work with youth. I'll give you one example of 6 years ago. We have something called listening tours that we implement in our markets, where we just get into a room with 15, 20 youth. We spend 2 hours. We ask the youth to just give us ideas. If you want, to say good things or criticize or question us, please feel free. But, in one of these sessions, one young girl asked me the question on waste management. Have you ever thought of partnering with your food service providers as a reverse logistic initiative? 7 years ago. And at the time, honestly, I hadn't. Today in Sri Lanka, we are partnered with Uber Eats, one of our partners. It stemmed from a thought, a conversation. So I always encourage youth to please, and we work with a lot of youth organizations, because sometimes we get so fixated on certain solutions that we don't see the bigger picture. And there are new ways. So innovation and thinking is important. So that's on the partnership and collaboration. We work with in various ways. In local community, so in Nepal as well, we work, so on some of our projects, like with Doko, we are doing the collection bins. And the bins are designed in the form of a bottle. Automatically, that is to convey that we are collecting plastic bottles. So it's a part of awareness built into design. We put the bins where you have high footfall, high traffic. I know working at supermarkets and various locations. So it's also to create awareness, and it's important for all of you to know. If you take any plastic bottle, PET, and how you recognize something is PET is not just because it's a bottle. If there is number 1 in the 3 arrows chasing one another, 1 means PET. You need to understand that PET is recyclable. You need to understand that this is not waste. It's not rubbish. It's not garbage. It's a resource. There's something of value. I left Coca-Cola the first time, this is my second time back in the company, to get into recycling myself and collection, because the amount of money in waste management is there's a lot of value in this packaging. So we want to create awareness through these partnerships and projects, how as the public, as communities, you can recognize something is recyclable, how your action is important to segregate, like you said, at the household. That's key, at source. And then take action and put it where it belongs. Not to burn it, not to throw it in a landfill or a waterway, but put it into a bin. Then companies like Doko, Khalisisi have access to that valuable resources, and you can put it into the use of recycling, turn it into products, and bring value to the economy. So we work with them, we work with our influencers. There's a campaign that we're doing with influencers as well at the moment. And in Sri Lanka, I'll give you one example of local community engagement. I'm sure you know we are an island, so we're surrounded by sea, and beaches, like your mountains in Nepal, get polluted and dirty very fast. And it affects tourism, it affects Sri Lankans who want to go to the beach because it's not safe. So Coca-Cola took an initiative called Adopt a Beach. A lot of the times, things we do are ad hoc, and it shouldn't be. One-off, just to get some points somewhere, and to say you did something, you volunteer, and you come back maybe 2 years. So we wanted to bring sustainability into a program, not do ad hoc beach cleanup. So we started the concept called Adopt a Beach, where we started with the dirtiest beach in Sri Lanka. It is terrible. It's knee-deep of waste for 3-4 kilometers. What we did was we empowered the local community. We worked with women-based organizations, and we pay them monthly salaries where every day there is a cleanup from 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every day. 365, rain or shine, we provide the equipment, backhoes, equipment they need to clean the beach, and it has made a difference. But we use and empower local communities because it's in their interest also to keep the beaches clean, but in a sustainable way. And today we have adopted about 6 beaches and 3 lagoons. And from there, 21 other companies today are doing similar work. So again, where you start, but then you share, and then you have collaboration where you encourage others to also follow in the same pursuit of making a sustainable difference. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So moving on to Amun sir, like you talked about how people were not that aware about waste segregation during initial phase. That makes us realize that education is really important and crucial in terms of waste management. So how is Khalisisi contributing to educating communities about responsible waste management practices, and how can education be a catalyst for broader sustainability efforts?
Sure. See, I realize Khalisisi's mission, sounds very simple, but it's powerful and big, which is to divert waste from the landfill. So it's simple, but it's so big that we know we cannot achieve this mission in the next 50 or 100 years, and we cannot obviously do it alone, right? So starting with this basic fact that Nepal, and if you look at Kathmandu, there are basically 2 or 3 landfills here, right? And most of it is out of its capacity a long time back. And that's the number one problem of the entire nation, waste management. And it sometimes also becomes a political agenda. So whenever Balan has an issue, he decides not to pick up waste, and all of a sudden the entire Prime Minister office gets heated up, right? So that's how much this problem is. Now, the second fact is whatever goes to, and like what Raghavendra earlier pointed out, everything and most of the products can be reused, recycled, upcycled and all that, right? Now, the fact is, every day, and correct me if I'm wrong, every day 12 lakh kilos of waste goes to Sisidol landfill. Is that correct, right? 12 lakh kgs. And we're all contributing towards it. This morning, I sneakers khate, I threw it in the dustbin. So that also goes as a part of that, and I'm guilty of it, right? So every day we're contributing towards 12 lakh, 12 kilo of waste going to the landfill. And the fact is, close to 70-80% of that could have been recycled. So the landfill ma jane na parne kura ho ki. So, if we relate back to the question that I asked, how many of you guys have 2 bins at home? Less than 15% of you guys are recycling it, right? So as guilty as all of us are, we actually are not aware of the fact that we're contributing so much towards that landfill, which could have been recycled, and we're not doing anything about it. Yet, we have so much of information, so much of other things. We know everything about PUBG, we know everything about some rapper in the US, we know everything about the newest iPhone model, but we don't know this basic fact that this could have been recycled. So now coming back to your question, what I mean to say is, let's start with awareness. So Khalisisi's core objective is to make sure that people are aware of this fact. And like I said in my previous answer, to build this culture of recycling. That's a basic start that we want to do.
Yeah, thank you so much. So now my next question to Raghavendra sir. From your experience, how can young people explore income generating opportunities within the recycling industry?
Okay, that's an interesting question, and I think all of us will graduate in few years, and we will be looking forward, some of us will be looking forward to start our own work. And to be very frank, in Nepal, to build companies in Nepal is not so easy. Because let's say we have a lot of challenges, the ecosystem and all, but irrespective of all of that, waste management has a lot of opportunities in terms of building a business. I would give you 2-3 examples. Let's say one of a sector which has a lot of gap is repairing anything related to repairing. Like tomorrow your iPhone gets damaged, you have a lot of repairing shops that you go to. But if we talk about repairing something like appliances, like for example this camera, or for example what we have at homes, like let's say gas stove or washing machine. So we see tremendous gap in repair, anything related to repair, because when we see the slogan, it's reuse, it comes first, So that's where we have to focus also. So there's immense market in creating any kind of business which has to be with repair. It could be laptops, it could be appliances, and we have seen similar businesses evolve in India and other countries. So that is one sector. Apart from that, waste management is a service. It's a service industry. It's basically a logistic business where your vehicle goes from one point to another point, collects waste. So there's a lot of innovation to happen in waste, which has happened globally, but has not happened in Nepal. Nepal, we still just, एउटा truck आउँछ, truck मा 3-4 जना मान्छे हुन्छ, they collect the waste, they take it to the landfill. So there's hardly any innovation that has happened in Nepal in general. In Kathmandu itself, there's nothing. So we can't expect it to happen in other parts of the country. So there's innovation in logistic, there's innovation in IT, in like somehow integrating IT to this entire ecosystem. There's innovation in how we manage waste. Like world has evolved so much where we are using IoT technologies to pick waste or select waste when we take the waste to a sorting facility. Like you kind of pick only PET bottles. So there's a lot of technology which has evolved in waste management, but to get into it, we have to start small. We can't think of like too advanced technologies, but we have to start small somewhere. But there's a lot of opportunities in waste management, and it's a earning business sector because waste has value. There are industries ready to buy it. Just that people have to invest time and energy to efficiently collect it. The most challenging part is collection of waste. So if one is interested to solve that, there's ample opportunities in waste management. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing. So building a sustainable future requires multifaceted approach that involves individual, business, government and communities working together, and creating an enabling environment involves adopting practices, policies and attitudes that should prioritize environment, social and environmental norms. Thank you so much everyone for sharing your ideas. So now let's go to the next segment of today's youth dialogue. The floor is open for question answers to our amazing panelists here. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, and please you can raise the question to our panelists. Anyone?
So my question is for you, sir, from I don't know the name, sorry about that. So Coca-Cola is a part of our culture now. Like we celebrate it. Whenever we celebrate any festivals, it's compulsory to have Coca-Cola on it. In Tarai, like people consume Coca-Cola a lot. Like whenever they feel hot, because of its hot weather, they consume Coca-Cola a lot in a very huge amount. So what about the health of the people? You talked about environment, sustainable environment, but environment consists of humans. So there should be something that will help people. Jसले गर्दा चाहिँ उनीहरुको हेभी हुन्छ नि यो consumption of Coca-Cola. People improve. What about that? Are you guys running any campaign about that also?
So what is your name?
My name is Sangam.
Sangam. Okay.
Thank you for the question. So it's a very important question. So as you know, we are in the business of refreshment, providing hydration, refreshment to the population of any country at any point of the day. So the thing with Coca-Cola, and it's the brand and the company are the same name, right? You have one, but Coca-Cola is one product. If you look at brands, we have over 200 brands globally, over 3,000 products closely. So different brands, different variants. So in terms of health, I'll give you a fun fact. Coca-Cola, which you may not know, is 100% natural. Fact. Coke Zero, I wouldn't, because you have artificial sweeteners, but Coke is, and you would wonder how come? How is it dark? What's the brown coloring? So it's, it's caramel. It's heated caramel, right? So Coke is one option that is available. Sprite is the other. So what we've done as a company is looking at reducing sugar in our portfolio. So that's why you have products like Diet Coke and Coke Zero as options as well for you to choose from. So a Coke drinker who wants no sugar, no calories can go to Coke Zero option. We are in water, we're in juice, we're in dairy. Of course, not every country has the entire portfolio, but we keep growing, keep adding. But the two important things is offering a portfolio of choice and reducing sugar, as well as something we've done is some people may ask, why Are you even reducing your bottle sizes? So it's something we've consciously as a company done called portion control. So you don't have the 2 liters and the 2.5 liters as your only option. If you want to drink less, you have, I think we have the 250 in Nepal as an option to drink less. So portion control, sugar reduction is are the main 2 goals that we try to bring in about a balanced portfolio, and providing choice so that you can choose which beverage you want depending on your preference, taste, and the time of day. Because we are the world's largest even in coffee and tea, ready to drink coffee and tea. So the portfolio is vast, we grow in every market, and we provide choice.
Hello, myself Saugat Adhikari from Law Faculty, KMC, class 12. And my question for the panel is that we know that prevention is better than cure. And in this phase, are we preventing our environment from being polluted, or we are curing the environment that is already polluted? And if we are in the phase of cure, isn't it too late that we are trying to revive the already biologically dead Baghbazar river, or we are trying to lift the decade-old waste from the Himalayas? That's my question.
I think you're right on the money. Anything that can be reduced has to be reduced. Recycling and upcycling comes much later in the phases. And one example I'd like to give is the textile industry, right? So I have a dual role. At one company, I sell a lot of products. And at the other company, once the product is being used a lot of times, then we recycle the product, right? So guilty as I am as an entrepreneur at Sasto deal, we sell a lot of fashion products, right? And then we don't care like what happens to the fashion products, and we encourage people to buy more and more and more and more. So now what happens is, let's look at the textile industry, the clothing industry. So one product, one SKU that I realized it's not being recycled enough in Nepal is clothes. And it's not being donated enough, and it's not been recycled enough. And there's like tons and tons, like 1,000 tons of clothing that ends up in the landfill. And it takes, I think, 1 million years for the clothing materials to decompose. 1 million, 100,000, I don't know, something, right? So like you said, I think if we can make a choice that, okay, this year I will not buy clothes, or I'll just wear 1 or 2 jackets, that'll do, then that's the number 1 choice. It's not that I'll buy 10 clothes and I'll recycle 8. I think reduction should be the number 1 priority in everything, not just clothing, in any consumption, in any buying habits. Let's try to reduce it. And if not, let's try to recycle it. If not, let's try to upcycle it.
I'll just add a few more lines to that. We are not in a very bad state, I would say. We are still in a state where we can actually maintain what we have, because most of the problem is in urban cities, because urbanization brings a lot of problems. So it's not as bad as but we should be concerned, because air pollution we have already quite bad. We have water pollution. We have all kind of pollutions are there. So, but to give you a broader picture, like as an individual we can take actions, but something like this requires much broader, let's say, collaboration for it to solve. And just to give you an example, in advanced countries, or even in countries like India now, they have a concept called polluters pay principle, where it's not just my responsibility or your responsibility to manage the environment. It's even responsibility of producers. Like, for example, Coke is collecting all the plastics from Nepal. Whatever they're producing, they're collecting more than that. So companies like them, when they take the responsibility, then the whole circular economy works. And if that doesn't come, then you and me, we are worrying about environment and things. It doesn't work. People who are producing it has to be responsible, and then we come in place also to be responsible. So all of us, when we come together, then only it actually works. Otherwise, it's like a battle which we are fighting alone. So that has yet to take place in Nepal. EPR, it's called Extended Producer Responsibility. It's a policy framework, basically. So we are pushing for it, and I hope it comes through at some point of time.
Water pollution को कुरा गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ I just want to know what's the process. अब ठाउँ-ठाउँमा गएर ओशन भनौँ न, ओशन छ अरे तपाईको लागि बडी हैन, त्यहाँबाट कसरी चाहिँ त्यो पोल्युसन भएको लागि चाहिँ भए पनि मटेरियल हुन्छ नि, कसरी चाहिँ तपाईहरुले त्यहाँबाट निकाल्नुहुन्छ अनि त्यो कता लगाइन्छ आई जस्ट वान्ट टु नो द प्रोसेस अनि त्यसपछि अर्को कुरा चाहिँ अब अघि सरले भन्नुभएको जस्तै तपाईँहरूको घर घरमा कतिजनाको रिसाइकलको लागि पेन अनि बायोडिग्रेडेबल बिन छ भन्नुभयो नि त सो त्यो कति ठाउँमा छ होला तर एज यु नो नेपालमा फोहोर उठाउन आउनुहुन्छ फोहोर उठाउने मान्छेहरूले सबै एउटै भाँडामै थुपार्ने हो नि त सो द्याट्स नट एउटा सिस्टम इम्प्लिमेन्टेड छैन नि त सो जे गरेर पनि नहुने खालको भयो होइन सो द्याट्स वाट आई वान्ट टु मेन्सन तर जस्ट द प्रोसेस वाटर पोल्युसनको बेसमा हुन्छ है के चाहिँ हुन्छ होला भनेर
Thank you for the question. I'll just answer it in two ways. One, we have 4 very clear global targets when it comes to our packaging. I'll just quickly share that with you. I mentioned one. By 2030, we will collect back more than which we sell. And we are going towards. In countries like in India and Southwest Asia, our operating unit, we want to get there way before 2030. That's why you've seen in Nepal, we're already there. Sri Lanka, we will get there in 2 years. So we are getting there before 2030. 2030 is the global target. We have 3 other big targets, bold targets. One, any product that Coca-Cola wishes to sell in the market must be 100% recyclable by 2025 or we do not sell it. It doesn't go to the shelf. Currently, globally, we are 90% on that indicator. So by 25, everything has to be recyclable by design. That's important. Third, by 2030, 50% of our packaging must be made from recycled content. So this is virgin, but you can make this from bottle to bottle recycling. The same bottle can go back into a bottle. So we have that target, which is a challenging target. 50% has to be made from recycled. A newest target that we introduced, 25% of our portfolio must be refillable or returnable. So a glass bottle goes out, comes back, wash goes in. PET, there's something called ref PET, refillable PET. The same bottle can come back and refill and go back out. So we have these targets to ensure circularity of refillability made out of design. So all that is very important. On design, this is virgin. We have targets to reduce the thickness. Even if you reduce 1 gram of thickness, and we do much more than that per year, it translates into millions of kilos and tonnage globally. So we do what you call light weighting, reducing the weight of the bottle. That's one. On waters and oceans and rivers and canals, we have a lot of programs globally. I'll just share. So in Nepal, we have 2 bottling plants in Bharatpur and in Kathmandu. So you have a process of how you treat the water. We have water treatment facilities. So all the water that we use before its discharge goes through a very robust, comprehensive water treatment plant and process. So that the water that's sent out of the plant is properly treated for the environment. So it doesn't pollute in any way. So that is there and it's audited and we have very stringent controls. But on the other, it's important that each country that we work in, we provide locally relevant solutions for that country. So that's why I said in Sri Lanka, we have focused a lot on the beaches and the oceans. But the ocean is the end of the channel. It starts from the home, the college, the office, where you segregate. If you don't do the work well here, it ends up in a canal. That's how it happens in Colombo. Canal goes to a river, river goes to a sea. Sometimes you get pollution, of course, a lot from other countries. So we are looking at addressing canals by putting canal traps, blocking rivers, and also addressing the oceans. So it's a multifaceted solution. You have to look at it in each way of interventions where it matters to make a difference. So it's just a nutshell. Happy to discuss with you afterwards if you like to know more. But it's something we take very conscious decisions on how to be local, how to provide relevant solutions. So in Nepal, we've actively involved in the mountain cleanup campaign for that purpose. We are working now with Khalisisi with putting an MRF. We have worked on multiple other material recovery facilities to see how, whether it's bins, whether it's MRFs, how can we play a role and be a part of the solution in the best way possible for that country.
I think the second question was about mixing up of waste by private waste management companies. मैले segregate गरे पनि त्यो सबैले mix गरेर लगिदिन्छ. त्यसमा चाहिँ there are solutions. If we segregate, then Khalisisi, Dahi Lera, anyone will take it, but you have to segregate it properly. You can't mix all kind of waste. You just have to mix recyclables mostly. Recyclables meaning apart from packaging waste. Packaging means YY, chocolates, any wrappers. This bike, if you mix up all kind of recyclables into one bag, give it to Khalisisi Dais, or even if you call Doko, we will come and pick your waste, as in people will take that waste. Just that you have to give it on a volunteer basis. You can't demand money out of it because it's a mixed waste. So if you allow them to take it, they will take it and they will fetch some value out of it. So it's not like we don't have solution, just that the nature of business is such that Khalisisi Dai will come and they will collect bulk waste. Let's say you have 5 kgs of paper, they will collect that. But nowadays, when we have experimented this, that if you mix waste, recyclables only, and if you give it to them for free, they will take it and they will earn some value out of it. So we have solutions, just that yes, we have private waste management companies which are not efficiently working. So we have that gap, which is quite true. So yeah.
So last remark by Amun sir, then we close this first segment. We'll go to gift hamper distribution session. Okay.
Thanks. It's been wonderful. I just want to end on a positive note. As we're approaching 2024, so New Year, Khalisisi is coming up with a campaign called Naya Barsa, Naya Soch, translating to New Year, New Perspective. And as we found out, like 90%, close to 90% of us do not recycle. We've not started recycling. And we know in the past, our New Year resolution, weight loss, building abs, whatever, reading a lot of books have not worked for a lot of us. I think this will work. Recycling as a New Year resolution will work. Let's make it our 2024 resolution. Let's start recycling in 2024 because it's a new year. We need a new perspective. We need a new Year resolution. Let's end on this note.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all our panelists for your time. Thank you so much for being here. It was a wonderful discussion. Let's consume this, let's adopt the habit of being sustainable. On a very positive note, here we end this last episode of Coca-Cola Presents Youth Dialogue 2.0 by Global Private Limited. Thank you so much for your support for this wonderful episode. Thank you so much everyone for being here today.